just get right into it. The first card we have, fuck me, is Draining Wave. So it's deal 4 damage to a minion and a general, and it is a Lyonar card. What do you think, Henrykator?
Well, it's a 1-mana deal 4 damage, but you also deal damage to your own general. I can see it being fun in some Arcanist style decks, which we might see in Lyonar.
Yeah, super controlly. But I don't think... It seems kind of weird though, because like your health is so valuable in this game. So even if you destroy a minion with 4 health, like that minion dealing 4 damage to you is usually its goal, right?
Yeah, and especially with if we get a very fast meta here, these 4 damage can really hurt you if you do the damage to yourself, I would say.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure.
Overall, not so amused by this card.
Nah, it seems really weak. Just because healing is so important and your health pool is so important, you could just like face slam the minion instead, usually, and just take the 4 damage instead that way, and not use a card on it. Not impressed by Draining
This
Wave.
makes into your hand,
yeah,
for sure.
We'll continue on to the next one, Prison Barrier.
It is I'm a big fan of this card, to be honest. Yeah, I feel like combined with some minions like I'll be Sage, this can be quite amazing. And we didn't have a mechanic like this before, that you can add force field onto something. So it's kind of cool to see how that pans out. This is pretty good if we're going to see a lot of Abyssian with the card Punish. We already know this can kind of deny, for example, a Cassava being able to just ping a minion and then deal with it, since she needs to deal damage first. That's something to consider. So I'm sure we'll see some kind of synergy with force field this meta, maybe to avoid damage on your minions.
But can you really justify paying 2 mana for force field alone?
I would say that if you have the Arcanist synergy in some sense, like a spell-based deck, then sure, but otherwise it's just emptying your hand somehow, right? Unless you have one minion that you really want to keep alive somehow.
I do think there's an argument to be said about it being able to attack immediately, but there is
to some extent it's
poking out.
Yeah.
Eat the food, man, and go away.
Have fun.
Thanks. There's an argument for attacking immediately and getting the effect immediately, right?
Yeah, in that case you can say if you use it on, let's say, a Windblade Adept or something, then this card could theoretically be deal 4 damage.
Yeah, but also requiring a minion on the board. I don't think this card is that good, but it has some potential.
Could run on a buff Tiger though, wouldn't you agree, on 5 mana?
That's true.
If you buff a Tiger and then use Prison Barrier, that's actually kind of cool, I would say, since then you would still have to ping it afterwards.
6 mana, 5/2 Divine Shield. Or Force Field is called.
It's actually pretty good. It's like playing a Sunsteel Rush, right?
There's some charging bonanza you can make here.
Yeah. In Lyonar, obviously, it would only be the Tiger, more or less. But might still be worth looking into, actually.
Yeah.
I think it can be fun. In general, combined with Argent's hero power, it can really do some damage.
Let's move on to Scintilla.
Yeah, Scintilla.
This card.
I know we discussed that a lot. I mean, what would you like to say?
I think this card is insane. Or is close to. Put it in Lyonar, healing free. No, yeah, free health. You can heal free health every second turn or something. Free health is a lot. Healing in general is very valuable. Just look at Magmar, right? They want to heal 8 health for 4 mana. But of course they also have their ability to power themselves up and use their face as removal, right? But still, I think if you are, especially Siran, because Siran have a similar effect where you can power yourself up with the 3 mana light. I can't remember what it's called. That's the 2/4 guy that buffs your hero.
Which one?
Every time you heal, you get 1 attack.
Sunforged Lancer,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, exactly. Sunforged Lancer. So Sunforged Lancer gives you the same kind of effect as Vath has, and thus you can use a hero as removal. And this also triggers Sunforged Lancer, right? So
yeah, sure it does.
Getting
and
health on a minion that isn't bad in itself, I think is very valuable. Also, just to all the heal combos now triggers twice with Saran.
Yeah. For example, it's pretty fucking cool to do a 4 damage AoE with your Sunriser with this guy.
Yeah.
That can really make some stuff happen that just couldn't happen in Siran before at all. Yeah. It is tricky though, I must say, because it's a Lyonar card, and Lyonar is one of the only classes that actually had a nice, good, viable 3-drop. Now,
that's true.
Along with Balsius and I guess but Silverguard Knight was just so good.
I think you're right about it contesting other 3-drops, because like the free 5 provoke is still better than Scintilla, I think. But
running both
it isn't
aggressive is definitely something.
Sorry?
But running both in a more aggressive, low curve deck is definitely a possibility, I think.
Yeah.
Something to be experimented with.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But overall, really, really good, solid 3-drop.
I am coming through. Yeah, great. Okay. So, solid 3-drop. Cannot be said about Sunbreaker, I think.
No, Sunbreaker, we also had some discussions about this guy, because what does it do for you, actually, if we look at it?
Yeah.
It has Force Field, and your Bloodborn spell is Tempest. So, if you are going to run this in a more aggressive list and take advantage of the Tempest as also face damage, then you would wreck your own small aggro minions completely and destroy your own field. And if you want to get rid of the Tempest Bloodborn spell, you actually cannot do that very easily because your dude has Force Field. So you need to be very sure that Tempest is what you want, because otherwise your opponent can just let you keep the Tempest if they play a more control-y style deck with a lot of big drops. They can just ignore it completely and make you wreck your own board every time, or just deny you from using the Bloodborne spell. Because the thing is, you would think, this is actually pretty cool, then you can play this, you can just buff it, and then it's suddenly a 4/4 with Force Field. But the fact of the matter is you cannot really do that, not with the raw ability at least, since you lose that, and you only have the Tempest, so you can only deal 2 damage to yourself.
And it's so slow also. If you want to use it at the same time, it's 6 mana, right? And you put out a 2/4, that even though it has Force Field, you cannot go in and attack, because you have to protect it from Tempest itself. So, very underwhelming card.
It has the exact same stats as something like Night Watcher, but Night Watcher's effect is active instantly when it hits the field, and actually it does its job.
Yeah, and you can buff Night Watcher, right?
What, sorry?
You can buff Night Watcher.
You can also buff the Night Watcher, you can do a lot of stuff with him.
But you can't with this guy.
It's not very reliable, a very situational card.
Nope. But then we have Trinity Oath.
My goodness. I think this is a card that the community and Reddit also already discussed a lot, and this is definitely borderline bonkers, broken, what you want to call it, in my opinion at least. You can combine it with Heaven's Eclipse. Heaven's Eclipse costs 1 more at 5 mana. You don't get any additional benefit, and you can only draw spells.
I think only drawing spells is actually a good thing, because in the late game, you want to search for a win condition.
But not necessarily.
Not necessarily, that's true. And I think in Lyonar it's better that it isn't only spells.
Yeah, definitely. In Songhai it makes sense because they have some really powerful spells.
Yeah.
And they have synergy with the spells in general, but for Arjun or Siran, it's not so good to draw spells, I feel. Not in the late game. They want their big drops out.
Yeah.
But 4 mana, restore 3 health, and draw 3 cards is completely insane. Would you agree?
I think it's, we have discussed this before, but this card is absolutely bonkers, and I think this is going to be a staple free off in every single Lyonar deck. It doesn't matter if it's Saran or Arjun.
Oh, it's good in both, really.
Yeah, exactly. The aggression, like this card is good for aggression, it's good for control, it's good for mid-range, it's good for everything. It's just insanely good. I don't think there's much more to say about it, really.
No.
So, the last card for Lyonar we have is Excelsius.
Yeah, it was the first card that was spoiled, I believe, and it's one of these do something about it or you lose kind of cards, which this expansion has this kind of flair that we see a lot of those minions, I would say. Huge ass minions that hit the board, and if you cannot answer them, then you're basically dead.
Yeah.
And Celsius is no exception. In an average Argent game, you might use 2 Healing Mystic and 2 Holy Immolation and maybe some other stuff that would make it a 9, 9, 10, 10, 11, 11 on average.
I think that's a little optimistic if you don't build around it. Holy Immolation doesn't always heal, right?
No, not necessarily, but we can also just say if it's a 6/6, just vanilla minion, even then it's 12 damage to the face, and it has this instant effect on the board with the provoke, which is really good. It's definitely a win condition. Also, answer or die. Spoiler alert, it's not the most crazy late game drop we will see in this expansion. Definitely not.
That's
but
true.
Yeah. But I like it, and I want to try it out, just see how it fares. But I also think that 8 mana is a bit expensive.
Yeah, I think because it's in Lyonar and you can put on the Aegis Barrier on it, right, on 9, it becomes a win condition in itself. So you might run 1, I don't know, maybe 2 in Siran. I don't think Argent is good enough. Even though you claim you can maybe get it up to 9/9, I think as a 6/6 it isn't good enough. So you need to have a guaranteed. I think you need to have it be an 8/8, just so you know this card will win me the game with Aegis Barrier on it, and then you hope it isn't dispelled, right? And of course, even if it's dispelled, it's still 6/6, but it's 8 mana, and 8 mana is a lot. You could play a 3/10 with Aegis Barrier and still have 2 mana more to use, right? And then the 3/10 with Divine Bond, all of a sudden it's the same amount of damage as this can push out. So
definitely,
I think it's gonna be hard pressed to get this into your deck.
It's pretty much already because you need synergy,
and especially with Trinity Oath, right? Because Trinity Oath allows you to just keep drawing medium-sized minions instead of having a big minion. And I think Siran's win condition will be to just buff herself up and hit like a truck, kind of like the Vath does it.
Mid-range minions and good removal options
exactly.
in general that Lyonar has with the Holy Immolation, as we know.
Yeah. So I actually think now that I look back, Lyonar only got one good card. And that was Trinity Oath. The rest is like, they're not bad, they're still interesting, but they seem a little bit under the power curve.
Yeah, sure. I agree.
So
this was actually it for the Lyonar, so now we go into the Songhai.
It's Songhai time, man.
Get your spells ready.
Let's see what we can get here. Obscuring Blow, it's a 1 mana spell, give a friendly minion or general backstab 2. And I think this is permanent. So the interesting thing is that you can put a permanent backstab 2 on your general, but does it stack is the question. Can you use it twice and have backstab 4?
But I think this card might be pretty good. It's a 1 mana card in 1 mana spell rather in Songhai, which already there makes, and it has a decent effect, right? That makes it super interesting. It's obvious that they want to make backstab decks more viable here, maybe trying to do some stuff for Kalios, but I'm sure that somehow this card will be seen in different decks.
I'm really unsure because you want to use Mist Dragon Seal on the 1 mana spot, and this card doesn't replace itself with draw.
But putting this stuff on something like the Haemon Bladeseeker and stuff, they can really hurt. Or putting it on a 4 Winds Magi or whatever.
That's true. But do you
need stuff that you already have? I don't know if you need.
Do you really need backstab 2 on them on though?
No, probably not. If you hit for 8, it's already good.
Yeah, and can you hit with backstab 2? Your opponent's gonna run away, right?
Probably, yeah. You see this Twilight Fox later that can pull stuff behind your general, but
I think the most interesting is that you could put it on your general and just have backstab the entire game, so your opponent has to constantly play around your general hitting anything in the back and getting free.
But just imagine this stuff you can do by having a Chakra avatar, then you inner focus the Chakra avatar, then you put Obscuring Blow on it, then you put it somewhere. All of a sudden you have a 6/6 Chakra avatar that we know that now has also back.
That's true, actually hitting in the back now.
And it also gets buffed by this.
Yeah, that's true. It might be okay as 1 or 2 off. I'm still unsure because you run dry really quickly when you're also playing Mistdragon Seal and Juxtaposition and all of that jazz, right, to make this work. So,
Yeah, Songhai was already pretty tight, so...
Yeah, exactly. This card, though, Ethereal Blades. 2 mana, give a friendly minion and your general +2 attack this turn.
So basically 4 damage burst in the card itself.
Yeah, this is
if you find that to the new Saberspine Seal.
Yeah, I think this is the new Saberspine Seal, and it's overall 4 damage, right? But Saberspine Seal before. Is there a important threshold between 5 and 4 damage that you need?
Not so much. The biggest one is from 2 to 3 HP.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure in this case.
Yeah, I think
this makes you able to trade more effectively with several minions, though.
That's true. You can both. Your hero can trade more effectively. Your general, of course, and a minion at the same time. I think splitting the damage might actually be really important here.
Yeah, because you can still combine it, just so you have the option to split it as well.
Yeah,
might be pretty cool, especially if we see more aggro style things where you have to clean several minions per turn. But this can also function just as face burst. That's what we have to remember. All of a sudden, if you put this on the little tusk boar thing and use mirror meld and that and stuff, all of a sudden you actually have a lot of burst for 2 mana.
Yeah, that's true. Huh. I think. Do you think this could reinvent or even make the tusk boar combo better? Because you can both play this and Saberspine Seal. I don't know if that might be too expensive though.
Yeah, I think that's too much mana because you need to play the piggy and the 2 spells.
Yeah.
And then I don't think that's worth it.
Does it make it more life maybe? I don't know. Nah.
I'd say this card is good because it also goes on your general somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, that you have the option there to trade in a minion and then go face with 2 damage as well, for example, or trade 2 minions.
I think this is really strong for.
It's a very strong 2-drop, yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
4 damage, 2 mana, pretty good compared to Phoenix Fire. This one though.
The legendary for Songhai.
Yeah, Twilight Fox.
Nah.
Blood Surge, teleport a random enemy to the space behind your general, which means basically that you put them in backstab radius of your general. And that's what they do.
Random enemy also include generals.
Yeah.
So not only minions.
Yeah. So you don't know what you're gonna get. And this card might be, I don't know, good in comparison to the first Obscure Blade card that we had. If you want to go for a backstab deck, but it's clearly a niche thing. This card.
Yeah, it seems
it's like it has its own deck, and I'm not sure that deck is going to be good. I don't know yet. Might be. Might not be.
The thing is,
something you just throw into every Songhai deck because it's that good. No, it needs synergy to work.
But yeah, where do you put this in Kalios, right? Because you have the backstabbing.
Yeah, I think.
And then what are you even using your Bloodborn spell for to activate this Blood Surge, right? You're teleporting a minion just on the spot to activate this. There's no synergy between the Bloodborn and the Surge ability here, it seems. That's my biggest problem, I think. Where some of the later Blood Surge cards we're gonna see, they have way more synergy with the ability that you're getting out of it. Where this guy is just, there's nothing.
I guess one thing this can do though, is that if you get into a corner situation where you block diagonally with minions, then this minion can actually take the minion away, kind of like destroying it if you're going for lethal in the end, if you know what I mean.
But you teleport it behind the general.
Yeah, you teleport it behind your general, but that's also enough to take it away so your general can hit the enemy general.
I guess but, so either you remove the one that is in the way or you bring their general to you and then you hit them that way. Yeah, that makes sense. But in that situation again, if you had the blink ability from Kalios, you
then
wouldn't
you would
even
get them
need
anyway.
this. Yeah, exactly. I don't think Twilight Fox is gonna see much play. It's a very fun troll card though.
Yeah, I think it will probably be very entertaining to play. But the minion itself doesn't have a lot of. I mean, you would only get the blood search ability of one time anyway, usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not something, and it doesn't generate value over time necessarily. It's not like it's a very good thing to teleport minions into you. Otherwise, you should do some kind of stall deck where you only play this guy and then just go to your side of the field and chill and pull all the minions to you. I don't know.
That actually makes sense. You can make the runaway tactic work because you can bring a little bit in at a time.
I mean, it's super good if you can pull a Kalino in and kill that, but you don't know if you get the Kalino. You can also get the General, which would suck in that case.
you don't really want them in. You just if you play the I'm in Africa and you're in America type of gameplay, then you just equip the ranged weapon and do that instead. Like.
But also in general, Songhai likes to use juxtaposition to remove big threats, right? So you juxta at, I don't know, 15-15 Abyssal Juggernaut into the corner, then you think, oh man, now I got lethal on him with the Twilight Fox, and you pull the 15-15 behind your back. That's, for example, not very smart, since you just went through the effort to remove it.
Yeah. So
it's random. I don't like it.
The idea is to get backstabs, but it doesn't seem to work, right? And the stats are too poor. So, the next card is called the Whiplash. It is not a spell, it is a minion called Whiplash. And it's a 4/3, 4 attack, 3 health, and reads Blood Surge, deal 2 damage to the enemy general. So, when I look at this, I see, I can't even remember what's it called. There's already a duelyst Songhai 4/3 card.
Yeah, the monk, Jade Monk.
Yeah, Jade Monk, exactly. Jade Monk deals 1 damage whenever it takes damage to anything. This card, you can play it more defensively, but still the stat line wants you to be aggressive. It doesn't seem that good though.
And again, with the blood surge abilities, they sound all good, but remember you cannot use them every turn per se. So if you play this early game until turn 9 or something, you will maybe get 6 damage out of it. That being said, it has to stay there and do nothing for you in the entire game. It's very iffy, I feel. Not a very strong redraw necessarily. Yeah. The effect is simply not good enough. Right?
No, it seems like you have Kai Beholder or Key Beholder, and you have Lantern Fox. You don't need Whiplash.
Very good draws already.
Yeah.
That's all there is to say about this one, right? I think.
So, this card.
Strike, definitely a copy of, played Hearthstone. There's a card there called Cobra Shot, and it does literally the same thing in Hearthstone. Deal 3 damage to minion and 3 damage to the enemy general. In Hearthstone, it sucks. In Duelist, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Or mana, 3 damage to an enemy minion and an enemy general can be pretty good.
I think. Okay. So the reason why this card is way better in Duelist is because damage on heroes matter more. Like you can argue for just shooting a spell in their face in this game, right?
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes, especially towards the end game.
Yeah.
And this that there is in Songhai naturally.
But 4 mana, actually, now that I think about it, it's a lot to just deal 3 damage to a minion. Because when you want to deal damage to a minion, do you really want damage in the face? And when you want to do damage in the face, do you really want damage on a minion?
It's iffy. It would obviously be better if you couldn't do 6 damage to the target that you want.
Yeah, it would be insane.
Yeah. It's some 8 gates time, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, that's actually an argument. That's an argument. Yeah. Also, the sister Alkion or something.
Because that would give actually plus 2 damage for all spells. So I guess this one would deal 5 and 5.
Yeah.
That's actually not so bad.
It actually makes sense now that you say it about the powering up spell ability here. You already have the kite deck with the artifact.
Yeah.
I think because that artifact wants to... In that deck you want to run away from your opponent and kill the minions and slowly get them down in health. Cupid Strike might make sense at that deck because you can slowly get them down in health.
Kill something,
yeah,
also
exactly.
Deal damage. Yeah, it's quite cool. Could be fun to try. There are a lot of new archetypes I feel that would be really fun to try. That also existed before, but just in a very weak form.
Yeah. I can see Cobra Strike in that deck, but otherwise it seems just on the low line.
I agree.
Geomancer. It's a 5 mana 5/4, and it reads opening gambit. Your Bloodborn spell is Phoenix Fire.
But this dude came out. It was one of the first reveals as well, the second, I believe.
Yeah.
From the development team, and it was very incredible how angry the community was about this card. It was. I feel like it might have been overhyped for a couple of reasons. 5 mana for a 5/4 in a deck that wants to burst in general and do hand combos. That's a lot, and you have to note that your Phoenix Fire will still cost 2 mana, not 1.
Yeah.
So you cannot use it on 6 mana even. You need 7 before you can actually combine it instantly with your Bloodborne spell. It's also worth noting that the effect is permanent because it's an opening gambit. What this means is that if you play 3 of these, for example, if you really want your Bloodborne spell to become Phoenix Fire, the last 2 copies of the Geomancer in your deck basically becomes obsolete.
Yeah, that's true.
Like playing a Grincher without an effect. A Grincher with the effect is already iffy. Yeah. So that's something to say. But it's definitely good. Still, I feel, but especially in the late game, you can really control stuff with and play him in a control deck. But calling him completely broken and OP and only positive, that's probably not something you can do, I feel.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of on the down low, like you mentioned, because it's cool to get Phoenix Fire every second turn or every turn in the late game, but you already have Hearthseeker every turn in the late game, right?
Yeah,
so you're also missing out on your current ability and then just getting another ability for free. And Hearthseeker can do a lot of work in the late game. You can stack them up and have 2 or 3 guys.
Could be good in the deck we talked about before with the Fox thing. Since then, we also talked about you don't have synergy in that deck with your Bloodborne spell.
Oh,
but actually, with the Phoenix Fire here, then plus Kalios in general tends to be more minion focused.
I think Kalios might actually be an okay argument, because in the late game, do you really want the blink?
Yeah, that's the question. You don't really want that, right? Not necessarily.
But on the other side,
but I would gladly have Hearthseekers every day, all time.
Yeah, I know, but I think it's very interesting, and you might be able to. Also, we mentioned with the Cobra Strike card, where you're using a weapon to buff up your spell powering damage things, so they deal more damage.
Also work for this, obviously.
Yeah. And therein you might have more synergy, because you don't really care too much about blinking around, and you don't care too much about making small dudes, right? Because you're just running away.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you play 1 and just hope you get it, or do you play 2 or 3, and you risk having the second one that is just the worst card in the game?
To make up for yourself, I think.
Yeah.
I think also running 1 as kind of a late game techie card can also be an option. It's a bit of a flair in the deck. I think this card is really one that we have to see in action before we can evaluate it.
Yeah.
It's hard to call its power level already, because I can definitely see its usefulness.
I think
I can also see the downsides.
You're just gonna get run over by playing a 5/4 for 5 mana.
If the meta is super fast, then you will just be dead the next turn if you play this on 5 mana.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're not completely skipping a turn, but basically you can easily remove this. It's a general hit and a random 2 Wraithlings or whatever, and it's dead.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that's all for the Songhai cards, actually.
So now Vetruvian. So let's see if they finally got some love. The community have been wanted that for.
I think Vetruvian has some of the strongest cards.
This is, for example, not some love. Stone to Spears.
Yeah, it's 1 mana spell.
+3 attack, and may move and attack this turn if able. So to explain how that works is that you can move the obelisk if it could actually move this turn normally. So you cannot drop an obelisk, play this card, and then move your obelisk. It has to be on the field for 1 turn.
Yeah.
It's
the same rules as transform abilities, basically, right? If you transform something that can attack, then the transform can attack. If you Stone to Spears a minion that would have been able to attack, then now it can attack, right?
Yeah, but the 3 attack is also not permanent. It's only 1 turn. It's.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it should be.
Okay.
Because they don't. Yeah.
Of course, it says and may move this turn. I'm not sure about that.
I'm pretty sure.
Do you really want to? Do you really want to?
1 mana, 3 damage burst. Very situational, as the chat also says.
Yeah.
And you don't want to just burn a 1 mana card for that. I mean, yeah, then you can use your obelisk to kill their 2-drop on the second turn. But is it really that strong? Not really.
No. And I think it's also like, because you can attack with your obelisk, you put damage on the obelisk, right?
And that's exactly what you don't want to do.
Yeah, you don't want to kill it.
You also don't want to move it away to defend it, because you want. Normally, when you play Vetruvian with obelisks, you think a lot about placement of these obelisks. So it's not a big chance that you want to move them afterwards, really. I would say.
Yeah. So yeah, not a very strong card. The next one though, 3 mana, 3/3 Zephyr. It reads Blood Surge. The general gains Frenzy this turn, and I think they forgot a space in the card text.
Yeah, they did. Too sad.
What do you think about it while I fix my Twitch title?
Yeah, well, Zephyr is really interesting. As you already know, everyone is that with Sarge, Bloodborn spell, Sarge, you can actually do 4 damage in an AoE, so there's already some memes going on with the Sarge, Magmar Warbeast and stuff like this. Pretty cool. And definitely something that we have to remember to play around now. But also always thinking now with this card in the game that when is the Bloodborn spell actually ready is much more important now. Because this card is just a 3/3 body, so it has to be there on the field while you actually use your Bloodborn spell.
But you can use it immediately.
Use it immediately at 4 mana, I believe.
Or 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever, right?
Yeah, depending on who you are or which player you are. You can save up your Bloodborn spell. It makes you think, when do you have to use your Bloodborn spell in order to have it ready for a Zephyr play, for example. Yeah.
I think this card is super good because you have the ability of using it early. You can kill a minion without hitting the minion. You can hit face often, right? That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna hit face for 2, and then kill 1 minion for 4, right? That's the usually what is gonna happen. And because if Zephyr becomes really good, people is gonna play around it. And this card is really hard to hit in compared to Henrykator, because Henrykator has the little charge rush thing. So you have the extra reach, where this, you can only move your hero. There's no summoning diagonally and then moving 2. There's just moving your hero or your general.
But pretty surrounded if you're playing against a very aggressive deck. Or you force them to play, as you said, around it, which also means putting minions in a position that they don't want to.
Yeah, and then you can run away and start blasting them instead, right?
Yeah. Just because this card exists in the game, you have to think about positioning now. The same with Henrykator. Yeah. You always do abysmal positioning against Magmar Warbeast because it exists, even though your opponent doesn't even have it. And it works obviously with
Falchius in the late game also. Yeah, they're both Falchius and artifacts.
Surround yourself with these spine cleaver totems or obelisks. Blood tier.
That's true. Yeah. The blood tier totem. You can spawn multiple of those with frenzy. I have tested that with Magmar. It works.
Yeah.
And
just to quickly clarify, because we're talking about blast now, this doesn't mean that you will shoot over the whole battlefield with blast. Basically, if you hit something that is inside your melee range, then you do a frenzy. And if it's not diagonal, but on one of the straight minions, then you will also blast behind that. But obviously the minion will still counterattack you if you hit it. Then you do the frenzy.
Yeah.
But if 2 minions are on a line and you stand in front of one of them and you shoot the one behind, then you will only do the blast and not the frenzy. You will only do frenzy if you hit something in the melee range.
Oh, you have confirmed that?
Yeah. it was confirmed on Reddit how it works.
Okay, interesting. I actually thought that you would blast in the line normally and then do AoE damage around you.
No, you'll only do AoE damage if you do the attack in the melee range.
That actually makes it interesting. Do you then want to play Blast, Wildfire Ankh in Sarge with Zephyr?
That's a question, because this is more up in your face, but I think you still want to do that though.
Yeah, maybe you do 50-50 and then your opponent is playing around Zephyr, you can punish with like Wildfire Ankh, and if they're playing around Wildfire Ankh, then you punish with Zephyr, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Zephyr, really awesome card, I think. I like this better as a card you have to play around than cards like Henrykator and Holy Immolation, just because the reach is more manageable. But you can still get punished if you play into it. So,
what a cool card, really like it.
This Divine Spark. 3 mana, draw 2 cards. We have actually seen this card exist before in the game. I think the old Second Wish drew 2 cards.
Yeah.
And they changed it because either it was too powerful or it was not thematical with the wishes that all targeted minions and buffs them and shit. But they thought they could bring it back in Divine Spark.
It's really good Divine Spark because Vetruvian lacks a bit of draw. They have the 3 mana, it's called something with Flood. Help me out here. Astral. Three battle pets.
Ancestral Flood or something like that.
Astral Flood.
Yeah, true.
So this one is pretty decent, I would say. It's a good cost for 3 mana to draw 2 cards. It's not as good as the Lyonar one for obvious reasons, because the Trinity Oath from Lyonar is just stupid, basically. But I think this is something we will see played as well. I don't know what
is it better than Astral Flood? So I guess Astral Flood you can replace your battle pets, but you're gonna draw them again, which kind of sucks. Yeah, over time.
Yeah, this is instantly 2 cards that are useful. So
yeah, I think this card might actually be really good with the super aggressive Zerix deck, where you're just spawning a shit ton of 2/2s and other minions, and you put what's it called? Oasis on them. Yeah.
Or inner focus, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, you put Oasis on them and you keep your hand, and then when you're running dry, you play Divine Spark. In that scenario, you don't have to play any late game minions. You can fill your deck just with early game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's not much to say about that otherwise.
Yeah, no, it's a fairly simple card. So
the next one,
Incinerar. 5 mana, 5/6. Your general may move 2 additional spaces. So, we just saw a frenzy on your hero. Does this help in any way with that card?
I mean, for 5 mana, it's pretty decent stats, right?
Yeah.
If you look at that, only stats, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
Then you have to realize.
It's not the only 5/6 that exist?
Yeah, probably, yeah. With an effect, yeah, I think there is definitely a better golem, right?
No,
not even sure.
I think
no 5.
the golem is
there even a 5?
4/9, I think.
4/9. Oh yeah, the Bright Moss.
Yeah,
definitely. But this moving 2 more spaces can be quite cool, because in Sarge you have your artifacts, and artifacts you want to do some funny stuff with that your opponent will try to block you off from.
Blast.
Yeah,
run away and then blast them, and then.
But also going to catch some kind of Aymara or something. I mean, the thing that people complained about in Vetruvian for ages, since the Siphon nerf, is that Vetruvian doesn't have any reach whatsoever.
Yeah.
Whereas this card actually gives some reach. You can reach some minions that you couldn't otherwise reach, or you can escape, which can be good. You can run away from your opponent.
But they don't have too much going on when they're out of range outside of Wildfire Ankh. That's the only problem I see. Whereas something like Songhai would love this card because they can run away and use ranged abilities of shooting with spells in the face, or
also compare this to Nimbus, for example, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this gives you something immediately. Where Nimbus you played, if you're still fucked, you're still fucked, right?
Yeah.
If your opponent is under aggressive.
kind of.
And this hits harder in the face, but dies more easily, I guess. Yeah, I'm not sure if this...
But has an immediate effect, though.
Yeah, but that immediate effect, isn't that impactful.
So we see it from the Elix Stormblade. I know it's a 7/7 for 6, and it's 1 more mana. But when you play Lyonar and you play the Elix Stormblade, moving the 2 extra tiles is something that usually comes in at, hey, it might be situationally good, but normally you only play it for the body.
Yeah.
This one doesn't have the provoke, basically. And the effect is not...
Yeah, and Elix, that's a 6 mana 7/7, so for 1 more mana it gets 3 stats extra and provoke.
The thing about Elix is that...
And also all your minions... Yeah, okay, that's a good comparison. Of course, Lyonar is probably even less useful away from the enemy than Vetruvian are, but Vetruvian is also kind of like...
I don't know.
There's not too much hiding.
I think it's a decent card, and I think it's in there to basically make synergy with the Zephyr, and also make it so that your ephemeral shrouds can actually reach those darn Kalanos in the corners, right? Because as I also mentioned in the chat, that if you're actually in the middle center area and you play Incineroar, you can reach anywhere on the map with your general, with a minion, basically. When the minion.
I think it's definitely interesting.
Yeah,
but
it's
it
cool.
might be just.
Slightly not good.
It needed something like flying or provoke or something extra. Just a little bit. Okay, so the next card is a 6 mana spell and it's called Autarch's Gift. Gifts. There are many gifts here. It's Christmas, so it's very appropriate. Equip 2 random Vetruvian artifacts. Oh, wait a minute. I thought this one gave you something from your deck, but it doesn't.
No, it's random Vetruvian artifacts, which is why it can be...
That can both make it better
really good,
and worse.
Equipping Spine Cleaver plus Blast, sure, that's pretty fun.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But the problem is, again, if you know it's going to be Spine Cleaver Blast, right, you can plan ahead, try to set it up for your next turn. Here you're just playing it and you're getting something.
If you play the 6 mana and you get, let's say, 2 Staff of Yakir, that's probably also the worst you can get.
Yeah.
But that would completely suck, basically. And for the mana cost, you need more than 6 mana in order to make it worth, right? Except for, okay, you only play 1 card.
If you get 2 Ankh.
But you get 2 Anks, or you get, it's very situational, and I honestly don't think it will see play.
No.
Maybe in some kind of Aurora's Tier troll ding dong deck.
Yeah, that's true.
With the, what do you call it? The time maelstrom thing that you can activate it again and do stuff, but it's still random. And it's not even a good random effect necessarily.
No, because you're not getting the benefit. It doesn't seem like you're getting too much mana benefit from it being random.
No. Yeah, not good, this card, I feel. No, but it looks fun also to play, sure. But I don't think it's really...
I think the main problem is basically, if you want Blast, you need to set up for it the turn before you play it. And then if you don't get Blast, you're useless. Yeah, exactly. And if you get Blast while you're in the phase, it's probably useless. Yeah.
So overall, yeah.
But this card, though... Grandmaster Noshrak. It's like 7 mana 4/7. It has Blast, Flying, and the enemy general takes double damage while this card is on the board.
Super good.
It stacks with multiple Grandmasters, right?
Yeah, if you have 3 Grandmaster Noshrak on the field, your general will do 16 damage per hit.
Oh, the memes.
It stacks so much. And it works as instantly when it hits the field. So if you have some minions on board, you can really burst down your opponent pretty quickly. If this guy survives 1 turn, there's a 95% chance that you're just straight up dead to something.
Yeah.
If you are like even on board, then this one is really good. If you're ahead, you win by playing this card. If you're behind, okay, then it's not all that good, really. If you're
then you would rather have Amara, right?
Yeah.
But you're probably playing Amara still in this kind of deck.
Yeah.
I think this card is sick because you can just play it way behind you. Super safe.
and just fly it everywhere and blast. We know it from the elk owls. Even an elk owl with flying blast is really trolly.
Yeah.
It's the combination of keywords, really.
It's just super hard to play around because there's no position where you're safe, right?
You need to kill this card the turn after it comes out. The only disadvantage this guy has is that it takes 1 turn to get active. On its own, it's still active for other minions, obviously.
Yeah, which makes it pretty crazy.
That's why if you are already ahead on board, you usually win by playing this card. If you have 3 obelisks that can reach your opponent, okay, then you play this guy, suddenly they do 12 damage instead of 6. And that's a big difference, really, these 2 damage per minion in a swarmy Vetruvian deck.
Yeah, I think it's super crazy. All of the Paxes, where before you're like, okay, Pax is kind of bad in the late game, I can just ignore the 2/2s. Now you can't ignore the 2/2s, because they each deal 4 damage, right? And your face deals 4 damage. If you play this, next turn, it comes around a Falchius. If you had a Falchius that survived, a Zephyr that survived, anything, you're just dead. So much damage. And Amara, right? If Amara can proc...
If Amara can suicide,
probably not
10 damage.
Yeah. It probably not work, but that's 10 damage and then 10 more, right? 20 damage. It's
stupid.
I think it might seem a little over the top, big minion overkill, but I think it's actually gonna be a psycho good card, a really good card.
Yeah, but people are not complaining because it's Vetruvian, and I think they needed something like this. They were pretty shitty before.
I'm gonna hate this card when
the other Vetruvian cards we just saw, they are not completely overwhelmingly good anymore.
I actually think they so far it's better than Songhai and it's better than Lyonar, right?
Lyonar has Trinity Oath, man.
That's true.
That's enough. True. If you could pick either get the whole set or get Trinity Oath, people would go with the Trinity Oath just times almost.
That's so insane. But just one last comment. When your opponent summons 3 or 5 Wind Dervishes and plays Grandmaster Nosrak, it's gonna feel like your Innis is getting bigger.
Destroyed. And now it's pretty funny. I don't know if you know, Wintermute just got into the balancing team duelyst. He's an Abyssian player, so now we can see what happens when you implement bias into making cards. Of course it's only fun in games, but seriously,
the Abyssian cards
fasten your seatbelts, because now you're going to see some completely bonkers, ridiculous shit out of this.
So we're gonna start off light with Feroza. It is a 1 mana 4/2. It reads Blood Surge, friendly Wraithlings, gain +1/+1. And it's important to note that all Blood Surge abilities happens after your Bloodborn spell is finished resolving.
So you get the 2/2 with Wraithlings by pinning.
Exactly.
It's a 1/2 itself. What do you think?
I think it's actually pretty strong. The one problem is Plasma Storm, right? Where even if you buff a couple of times, you get wrecked by Plasma Storm. But
also Tempest.
Yeah, Tempest as well. But the thing is, you can have multiple Ferozas in one turn. You can just sit on them and wait for that one turn where 2 guys survived. You play double Feroza and you use your Bloodborne spell. That's 3 mana. And now all of a sudden you have 4 3/3s on the board, right? Or you can just use it as a finisher. If you have that combo with, what's it called? The Blood Moon Priestess, I think. Yeah, Blood Moon Priestess. Where you spam 1/1s all over the place, right? Often you have a hard time using those as finishers. You're just kind of killing one here and there and keeping the full surround. All of a sudden, Feroza gives 12 stats on the board, right? Just for one guy.
To its mana cost, it's really, really good.
Yeah, it's not a card that you want necessarily to drop early, but I think just because you can play it all of a sudden to buff a big bunch of minions, I think that's pretty strong.
Is the Blood Baronet dream real? Or?
The Blood Baronet, I'm still dreaming about the Blood Baronet dreams.
It was pretty cool before with the Shadow Reflection decks. That also, I want to give credit to one guy on Reddit. He keeps posting this Blood Baronet deck. Yeah, it's
the best.
Yeah, something you can do, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, good one drop.
Yeah.
Swarm Lilith needed maybe a bit support. And here we see what they gave her.
Yeah, you play around Scorn, but you still get punished by Tempest and Plasma Storm for the most part. But yeah. Then you have Aphotic Drain. 2 mana, destroy a friendly minion to restore 5 health to your general. This card should cost 0 mana.
Yeah, if it costs 0 mana, it would be much better.
Yeah.
You can use your Bloodborne spell as Lilith, then you play your what's called this new scorpion-looky thing.
The horror guy.
Horror, yeah, something with horror. It's a 4/1 that makes a random friendly minion into a 6/6. So then you can use this card on your 4/1 to instantly activate that, I guess. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
This
card, to be honest, it just seems like in Lyonar you have Sundrop Elixir, and you have a lot of healing synergies, and you don't see Sundrop that much. It's a good card, but it's not that often you see it. You see it here and there, especially now with the more controlling meta, right? But you can play Kalino. Why? You can play Shadow Sister. Why would you ever play a Aphotic Drain? There's no reason to. This card is really bad.
Yeah, not much more to say about it.
Yeah, let's move on. Yeah. So, here we go. The controversial one. 2 mana spell called Punish.
One of the most crazy cards in this expansion.
Yeah. It reads, it's basically destroy a damaged minion. So, it is execute from Hearthstone, if you know what that is. Basically in a class that has hero powers that can deal 1 damage, right? And also your hero has per default 2 attack the entire time. This card is super good.
Works well with Scorn, works well with Lilith Swarm with your Wraithlings. Also, it's just completely sick for the mana cost as well. Yeah. Even if you have Cassiva BVS, it's 3 mana destroy a minion without doing anything else.
And make a creep tile, right?
And make a creep tile as well, obviously. You also get that bonus. But also if the minions just damage in general, like you can use this on a Spectre Revenant that hit you or something. It's just cheap instant removal that is easy to get the condition for. It's really strong.
It's gonna be an auto-include in Cassiva at least, I think. Free off, and maybe I'm not sure if it's better than Ritual Banishing in Lilith.
Not sure. Situation is better, obviously, because you would rather hit your Wraithling that survived into a minion than punish it, than you want to use Ritual Banishing because you save 1 mana.
And also because when you're playing against Lilith, you're always aggressively clearing out these small shitty minions, right? So when you're playing against Lilith, you're often gonna have a lot of minions that just have 1 or 2 damage on them, and they're still strong minions, right? Like Lyonar's Ironcliff Guardian. And then you punish, right? So
it's hard to say much more about this card because it is quite simple. You damage something, you kill it, and you pay a measly price.
The only thing though is that if you're playing against something like Lantern Fox or Nimbus,
exactly.
Then you have a problem where you can't really use punish, but
because you have to damage it. And also, there's
not
force field minions, kind of.
Yeah. But force field minions, if you're playing Cassiva, you already have a pretty easy time killing those. So, super strong card.
Yeah.
And the next one is Horror Burster. Actually, I thought it was Buster for the longest time.
No, Horror Burster.
It bursts with horror. So it's a 3 mana 4/1. It reads Dying Wish, transform a random friendly minion into a 6/6 horror. And the 6/6 horror have no abilities, it's just a 6/6.
Yeah, but it works with like all other transforms, that if the minion could move, that gets transformed, then this horror can also move.
Yeah.
So, the thing is, it's a pretty good 3-drop, I would say. But you have this fear that your enemy can just clear your board and then kill this, and then it's really weak at 1 HP if it doesn't do anything.
I think you just play it out in, like, the idea of this card is to play it out in the early game before your opponent is in reach when you're going towards the center.
It's actually a great startup minion.
Yeah, it's super good.
Against Sphere of Darkness, though, it's gonna get wrecked.
There's some punishing factors, definitely, where Blood Tier Alchemist, I think we're gonna see even more of in this coming meta.
Yeah, definitely.
And all of the Abyssian cards that deals 1 damage, right? But I think it's really strong. There's really no difference between 1 or 2 health for the most part, outside of the punish, right? 4 damage in the face is super strong, and 4 damage in the face make a 1/1 into a 6/6 and attack immediately for 6.
It's a definitely
crazy. Yeah,
you cannot say that it's not, especially also because we all know that the game lacked 3-drops before.
Yeah.
So this doesn't really have any competitors on this spot, not so much at least.
I think it's super strong, actually.
Yeah, it's definitely good. If you get Blood Moon Priestess rolling and a Kalino, you have to be careful though.
Yeah, that's true.
Transform your Kalinos into horrors by mistake.
There is, of course, the problem where in the late game, you just recycle this constantly, and you can't even play it if you draw into it after you replace.
Because it will break your own.
Yeah, that's true.
So, not so good.
So
but the early
there's
game
some balance
is really
in
good.
it.
Yeah. So the next
one. The next one is Necrotic Sphere.
I think this is going to be quite a cool card. Actually, I think it's going to be. We saw in the latest DWC qualifier that Decimate was actually played for Lyonar.
Yeah, Decimate is.
But this card
bad
is
version.
To some extent. But it's again that Abyssian gets really good removal. Just really good cards, I would say. This card removes or destroys all minions around you in general, and you summon Wraithlings. Worth noting that you will control these Wraithlings and not the enemy minions. The enemy general won't control the Wraithlings. So if you're surrounded and you use Necrotic Fear, then you clear everything around you. So
and make a wall.
It's a really good anti-aggro card for obvious reasons, and good against big provokes, and good against Lyonar in general.
And basically because Cassava already plays so much healing in Kalino, you kind of have to rush them down, right? And when you rush them down, goodbye, all of the minions.
Yeah, one thing that countered Cassava a bit before, because we all know Cassava was a strong deck before. I don't think Abyssian needed all this good removal. They had decent removal before. And one way you could defeat her is just to provoke her, keep her in place, and then hit her and hit her and hit her and hit her. But this allows her to just completely nullify your aggression and just keep doing her things where she chills around and don't know.
If you hit just 2 minions with this, it's strong.
Here and then just pretty good card. I don't think it's OP or anything, and I wouldn't want 3 of them in the deck. But I would definitely check it out.
I think this is a 2 of actually, even with punish, like 3 punish and 2 of this in a mid-range control-ish kind of.
Compared to, can it be compared to Vanar's Frostburn maybe, something like that? It's a 5 mana.
Not entirely.
No, it's a bit different, yeah. But this one removes or destroys everything. And these 1/1 with Wraithlings is really important, because if you're blocked in a corner, then you get a Wraithling between you and the enemy general, for example. It's really good for blocking purposes.
Yeah. It's overall good.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the most interesting of them all. It's Grandmaster Varix. It's 7 mana, 7/7, and it reads Opening Gambit. Your Bloodborn spell costs 3 and is now awesome. I'm just gonna say quickly, shout out to Counterplay Games for having humor in their game.
Yeah, it's really, really cool, and I love the design of this card. Everything about it.
Yeah, the visuals is awesome. Yeah.
But it's just a bit stupid how good this card is. It's you can quickly to explain. It's the Bloodborne spells that you can get. They are Shadow Spawn if you're Lilith. Summon 2 Wraithlings nearby. All of your Wraithlings become furious, and a furious Wraithling, that means that the Wraithling is now 5/5, unbuffed, be it. So it's not like you can dispel it and then it becomes a 1/1 again. So you summon for 3 mana 2 5/5s every turn, and all the Wraithlings you have on the board is actually turned into 5/5s.
Yeah.
So, and the Abyssal Scar, which is the Cassava version, there you will for 3 mana summon a 4/4 Fiend token on every friendly Shadow Creep. So what this means is that every single turn, you would either make 2 5/5s or 8 4/4s or something, whatever you want. I think we are going to see basically triple Lightbender in every deck forever. Yeah, but it doesn't even help against the Shadow Spawn thing. 2 5/5s every single turn while you also have your other cards to play. I think this is quite ridiculous, to be honest.
You can Darkfire sacrifice it out early, right? And then get the value train going.
Yeah, because it's an opening gambit. It doesn't have to feel to do that.
So if you Darkfire sacrifice it out at something like 5 mana, and then the next turn you make 2 5/5s. Okay, you run away, you make 2 5/5s, and you just it's just insane.
Would just be what you do is that you go out on your turn 1, and you start. Then you play a 6. Then you play double Darkfire sacrifice, and then you play this on your second turn, and then you win the game from there.
Do you think this card can replace or supplement what's it called?
Revenant?
No, not Revenant. Still insane.
Exactly. That's what
Obliterate.
Obliterate. Yeah, but you only play 1 Obliterate anyway. I think you would just still play Obliterate. The thing about this card, if we have to look at it from all different angles and not just scream OP, is that it actually doesn't do something on the turn it comes out, because you can never use your one spell. So you have 1 turn to do something about that.
Yeah. And the next turn, okay, you get your Abyssal Scar. All of a sudden, it doesn't deal damage anymore. It doesn't generate creep anymore. Now it's just spam the board, right? So you play Varix. If you're in trouble, you play Varix and run away. The next turn, you're probably still in trouble, right? You play Abyssal Scar and then a 4-drop or something, a 5-drop. I'm actually not sure if this could be played in Kasava. You might play... It
pretty sure
automatically wins the late game, right? But you're already winning the late game just with Obliterate and
it's true, but having a 1 of this is just not so bad, I think.
Yeah, but I think this card is absolutely insane in Darkfire Sacrifice, Ramp, type of Lilies, because if you get this out early, like on turn 5, right, and then Shadow Spawn, the next turn you get 2 5/5s, and the turn after that you get 2 5/5s, and then you can just start hoarding. You use Dark Sacrifice, you run out of cards early, and then in late game it just Shadow Spawn, Shadow Spawn, Shadow Spawn. It's insane.
You can't win the value game against this. Nope. That's impossible. That's completely impossible. But I still think that running a 1-off, at least in Kasava, is also good.
Yeah.
On average, you at turn 8, when you would use your Bloodborn spell, you can always have at least 5 Shadow Creep tiles.
Yeah, that's true.
That's something you have.
That's average.
At 3 mana, 5 4/4s. That's actually good. I mean, they don't even dodge a Plasma Storm.
But the only problem is that all of them spawn way back where you started the game playing that pesky 2-1 defensively.
Not necessarily. I think I would like to play some kind of in Kasava, also try to make a Shadow Nova deck or something. I mean, very fast, more spell based, just to see how it works out. If it's actually possible to utilize this card, where you really focus on Shadow Creep. Maybe just having the dream of summoning 15 4/4s or something, just to try it out. It's just this cards that have the potential to basically create unlimited value, more or less. Yeah. It's not so healthy, not in this way. Compare this card to a Pandora, for example. Do you want a 3/3 wolf with provoke, or do you want 15 4/4s? every turn for the rest of the game, be it was completely bonkers and ridiculous. Or a whistling blade. Do you want a 2 attack, 15 health, or what about 2 5/5s for the rest of the game? I don't know what to say about this card. Also, if you use the Wraithling, what is it called? Wraithling Swarm. It will also take your existing Wraithlings into this 5/5s. So okay, you sit there, you're chilling with your Blood Moon Priestess, and you just play Shadow Spawn after you suicide a bunch of minions. Okay, now you have 7 5/5s around your Blood Moon Priestess. You can do some ridiculous stuff with this.
Actually, a comment came up in the comment section that there is some counterplay because you can put your minions on the creep tiles, right? You see Grandmaster Varix come out, and then you can kind of move your minions into position, kind of block it.
Do you listen to what you're saying though?
You can move your minions onto the table.
Play around Shadow Creep by playing into Shadow Creep. There's something wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think we can discuss this anymore because it's really, really strong.
So next is Magmar. And the first card from Magmar is a Rancor, the 2-mana, 1/3. Whenever your general takes damage, this minion gains that much damage.
It's hard to say, actually, because it won't get health.
That's true. And free health isn't that much.
It's like a Silithar without rebirth, if you play it out.
Yeah.
So it's not better than a Silithar as an opener.
No, that's true.
Would never be.
But it can... the problem is, usually, for 2 mana, right, you can get something like a... Of course not in Magmar, but the standard is something like Windblade Adept, where you get a free... No, 4 free, right?
Yeah.
For 2 mana. And for this to be a 4/3, you have to hit twice?
And it's also that when your general takes damage, so okay, if you buffed this to a 10/3, then your general took 9 damage to do that. It's not necessarily a good thing if you
buff this to a 10/3. What? Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I get it. Do you know what I mean? So if your general takes 9 damage, then it would be a 10/3.
Yeah, and then you're fucked.
And then you have a 2-drop, which is something like an Araki Headhunter, more or less.
Yeah. I think in my experience, often when you're playing Vath, you don't want to hit too much unless you have to. In the early game, you want to wait until you have the power, where you're doing more damage than your opponent and you're removing minions, right?
But yeah, there are some things though. So if you open with this and you go second, then you can actually in the next turn play your Elucidator and go for 10 damage to the face with this one and Elucidator. For example, that's a lot of damage, right?
That's true.
That's something you can consider. That's one way where you're kind of sure that it would be active from the get-go, but it's also very vulnerable to stuff like Saberspine, Tiger, for example, because it has one.
But then, that's true. On turn, the very first turn, they can just trade it, and their guy still survives. That is actually a problem.
Yeah, I don't like this card too much. I think it's too slow.
I think
it's like a Rocky Headhunter, more or less.
There's some potential in that your opponent don't want to hit you while it's on the board, right? They're gonna be afraid.
But it's a face card.
Yeah, it's a face card where your opponent doesn't want to trade with you, but you actually want them to do that. So this card kind of, I don't know, doesn't seem that great.
We'll test it out, but I'm not a big fan.
Yeah. Entropic Gaze. Deal 4 damage to the enemy. I'm gazing you. Deal 4 damage to the enemy general. Both players draw a card. It is a 2-mana spell.
So it's a Starhorn kind of effect, a Starhorn Bloodborn spell. They try to implement a lot of Starhorn support in this expansion. The same goes for Sarge. So it seems that they are listening to the community, that people say these 2 generals are the
We want more face.
And Kalios as well. So now, they try to support Starhorn as well.
Kalios didn't get anything. He got a Twilight Fox that kind of doesn't work with him.
But they tried, right?
I guess.
So... yeah, but also the backstab thing is also for Kalios.
Yeah, that's true.
But deal 4 damage. So
I think this card is good,
actually. It's really good with Decimus. You can play Decimus, this card, and then the Teutonic Spikes for a whopping 16 damage for a 9 mana from anywhere on the field.
Retarded.
It's quite stupid actually. Due to the fact only that you can do it from wherever you are on the board.
I was thinking, we're gonna see Teutonic Spikes in a moment, but I was thinking that card alone would actually make Starhorn super aggressive decks viable, and then comes around Entropic Gaze. It's so stupid, it's so aggressive.
Entropic Gaze is really also strong, 4 damage for and in general, just alone that. Okay, both players draw a card. that equalizes it. But this is a Phoenix Fire dealing 4 damage to the general. It's the same mana cost as a Phoenix Fire.
You don't care too much about
giving draws.
Draws because you just want to win. It doesn't matter how many cards they have in hand. If their curve is kind of mid-rangey and your curve is just a bunch of 1s and 2s all over the place, they're gonna be low on cards and draw cards, and they're gonna be high on cards, and then I can't play all this shit. I'm gonna get run over.
But I imagine that the Starhorn Mirror is just going to be...
it's gonna be super stupid.
It's going to stop as turn 4 or something.
One player plays Decimus, the other player concedes.
Yeah. 1 Decimus and then... and yeah, it's going to be stupid, really.
Yeah.
It's just pure damage, like dinosaur style.
Let's take a look at the next card.
Yeah.
It's Frakes, a 3-mana 2/4. Blood Surge, all friendly minions gain +1 attack, including itself. So, a lot of Magmar players, I think, have hyped this card up a little bit too much. It just doesn't seem that good to me. 2
attack is really a bad thing.
Yeah.
For 3, I feel. It doesn't really trade with other 2-drops, for example. And the effect itself, it doesn't go off until your next turn if you play it going second. First, it's not something you really want to ramp into as well, because you cannot really use your Bloodborn spell with it, and you also need some other minions on the field in order for it to become really good.
Yeah, there's some few things that works, like playing it with
Nature's Confluence stuff.
Yeah, Flash Reincarnation, and you have a what's it called, Sunsteel Defender. Sunsteel Defender is really nice with additional attacks. But Magmar in general is just, I'm playing 1 minion, then I'm playing 1 minion, then I'm playing 1 minion, then now I'm playing 2 minions. But that's way too late for Frakes to be useful.
And this is not something that can really swing the tide of battle suddenly late game. It's 1 attack, it's like a razor skin effect, except you don't draw from it. But it's a 3-drop. And it's Magmar, and Magmar didn't have a 3-drop.
That's true.
Before, except for Earthwalker, or whatever it's called. But this card is better than Earthwalker. I think we can both agree.
But Earthwalker, like the next turn, it's a 4/4, right? Frakes, the next turn. If you're going second, you play this. You can't even Bloodborn the next turn. So for 2 turns, this card is just gonna stick around in the corner and be kinda iffy. I'm not even sure if this is better than.
I think the Rancor is better, almost.
Yeah.
They compare them so much, but
I think Rancor might actually be... but 1 health is a big difference.
Yeah, but you will only get this effect off once still. Blood Surge is not every turn.
Yeah.
We cannot look at it that way, because it's simply not. It's every second, and that's very important, I think.
Yeah.
I think all the turns now will be even more important than before. And to really see when do you have your Bloodborne spell and so on.
I think even in Starhorn you don't want this. You only want 1 and 2 drops and then Decimus. And maybe a couple of Tigers. Like you don't want a minion that is so slow like Frakes.
No.
Yeah. I think this card is a bit overhyped at least. So the next card is the one we mentioned before. It is Tectonic Spikes, a 3-mana, both players draw 3 cards. And you deal 3 damage to both generals. So it might seem like a bad effect because you're doing the same to both players. But again, if you can build your deck so aggressively with Starhorn, with Vath, it doesn't really matter because they have so many strong early game cards. They have Rex, a card that isn't that good because you run out of cards, but it's super strong if you can just vomit out your hand. It's one of the best 1-drop minions for just pushing damage. And you have Flame Blood Warlord, and it's just you're filling out the board and you're refilling your hand, and your opponent. How often in the early game or mid game do you have 3 open spots in your hand? You don't, and you're gonna overdraw.
Exactly.
Especially if he's playing Spelljammer also at the same time. So, super
and the 3
strong.
Damage.
Yeah.
If you're playing the aggressor, then 3 damage is better to receive for you than it is to receive for the opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
The only thing I would be afraid of if is if I'm playing in a mirror match, because then your opponent's also throwing down.
The mirror is really stupid.
Yeah. I actually think there's some skill to what you're replacing into, but yeah. And not only Tectonic Spike is super strong to refill your hand, but also with Decimus, I think Decimus might actually become a viable strong card, because on 7 mana you play this in Decimus, and it's 9 damage to the face, no matter where you are on the board, right?
We have the Elucidator Thumping combo, but that still has to have some reach. You can block yourself in, you can play Night Watcher. This is spell damage directly out of hand without any kind of condition you need to fulfill before. That's why it's so good. And it sticks the Decimus, so it also works the next rounds. They have to remove it.
It might actually, it's mentioned in the chat that Rancor also works with this, so I think Rancor might actually be okay in a super aggressive Starhorn kind of deck.
Yeah, sure. It's not a bad card at all.
No.
But it is a bit slow. Yeah, in the fact that it doesn't have rush or something. It can be killed. Yeah. The next one.
We're moving on to the last one from Magmar. It is a 4 mana.
No, it's not the last one, actually.
Oh, okay. That's true. I was just I was watching the legendary mark, and I was thinking it was the last one, but of course it's sorted by mana cost. So 4 mana, 5/4 Drogon, Blood Surge, double your general's attack this turn, and I assume they stack again, like Rushnak, whatever.
Yeah, they do. They should all stack like that.
Super strong for Vath, I think.
You can also do 20 damage. If your general has 5 damage, you play 2 of these, plus your BBS on turn 9, then you have 20 damage.
The only problem I see is that in the late game, because of Life Force, Life Bond, I can't remember what it's called. Bounded Life Force, there we go, yeah. Your opponent's already kind of afraid of your general in that late game. Often in games, I'm seeing my opponent just run away, and I'm trying to chase them, and every step of the way they're blocking my hero. So, it seems super strong, but at the same time, it's just your win condition dealing damage with your hero. It's really hard to.
It's hard to reach them with this big general, because they will always block you off, and if a Vath has 4 attack, they're not going to let you hit them, kind of.
Yeah.
It can be funny with some Silhouette Tracer artifact deck, but I also think we will see it in general in Magmar. It's pretty good 4-drop.
I guess it's good just for clearing out minions, because you're playing a 5/4, and then you're killing something with 8 health with your hero.
Yeah, it sounds also insane that, oh my goodness, if you have 4 attack on your hero, then you can hit for 8, but this just gives you a 1 turn of Adamantite Claws, more or less.
That's true.
And a body. I mean, you don't get 8 attack, you actually only get 4, because you already have 4 before that.
That's true.
So even though you see some big numbers, we have to realize it's not, it's just double. That's why it can be tricky. And with the Twin Fang, as the chat mentioning here.
Twin Fang is already overkill, isn't it? If you get Twin Fang running.
Yeah, kind of, but not really. If you get it to 6 or I don't know, 8, then it can really do a swing.
I think I'm looking most forward to playing this in our Iridium Scales deck, where we're already using the hero just to destroy things. And if you're playing Drogon in a deck that also has Adamantite Claws, right? So you can get even more attack.
Yeah, with Adamantite Claws you do 12 damage with this guy. Yeah. And that's a lot. That's really a lot.
So, and that's, no, how do you do 12? Because you're also using your Bloodborn, so it's a minimum of 14.
Yeah, minimum of 14, I suppose. Yeah, true.
I suppose. So, the next one is a 4-mana spell. It's called Valknus Seal. You summon an egg, and that egg hatches into a copy of your general.
Now I just realized why this card might be good. Because we talked about before, hey, but you would never be able to hatch that egg, because it's a 0/1. You cannot just block it with your minions and stuff. But okay, if you actually play this card, and you actually play a Morincourt or Egmorph on top of it, then you'll actually instantly get a 2/25 minion, or whatever your general is.
Yeah.
So, because this is definitely the best minion you can get, I think. I mean, look at it. It's
you can dispel it. So if you play the egg aggressively and you run in and activate the egg,
it's just egg synergy. Also the Henrykator stuff, I really like that. Or playing it together with the Wild Inceptor.
If you're playing it with Henrykator, it's also getting the free attack in the minion, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I think so, at least, right? Yeah. I'm not sure. Are you sure? Because
I think if you're using your Bloodborn, you get it, but I'm not sure about artifacts.
But Bloodborne, definitely.
It could be pretty cool if it copied all the effects onto it. So if you had like Iridium Scale, you got Frenzy on
Valkyrie. It'd be insane. Then yeah, you will have Iridium Scales forever. Maybe. That would definitely be pretty good, yeah. Or a twin Fang that cannot be dispelled. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually a good point in chat. I wonder if this egg gets added to the option of Chrysalis Burst. Well, I sure do not hope so.
My guess is that it won't happen.
No. Because it's not a minion, it's a token still.
Huh. Yeah, is there any other Magmar tokens in the game?
Yes, but you cannot get them. You get tokens from Metamorphosis.
Yeah. So because you can't get the Metamorphosis tokens, I think you can't get Spirits of Wagner either, because it's not a minion in your collection, and Metamorphosis proves that it's only minions in your collection that can hatch.
Yeah, sure.
But we never know. We never know.
No. But I would like to see some combos.
But you think this is viable?
In its own deck, I think it can maybe work. But I think this deck would probably be too slow anyway.
Yeah, it seems a little trolly to me at least.
Yeah, it is. But that's also the only way you can get it out. I'm just saying you cannot play this on turn 4 and this egg will live. It will never happen. Not in a million years. You need to activate it instantly in order for it to work.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
So you have to have Spirit Claws, then play it, and then attack, right?
Spirit Claws?
Oh, what's...
Oh.
Henrykator, yeah, sorry.
Or an Egg can also work, or Wild Inceptor, but Wild Inceptor is not
Egg Morph, then you're playing 8 mana and 2 cards to get a free...
Potentially...
12 maybe?
25.
But you don't have 25 at that point, I don't think so.
No,
at 8 mana.
Yeah, no, you don't.
Yeah. I think it's more of a troll card, but it's really cool still.
Yeah.
Oh, did I skip something? Oh. There we go. The next one is...
Vanar.
The next one is Vanar. I have to actually click to the next card as well. So, Concealing Shroud.
Yeah, you negate all damage on the next turn. Good to avoid OTKs.
Yeah.
Or stalling one more turn with phase so you can get that last damage in.
And you can go in and hit as well. So usually at this point in the game, you're pretty low. You play Shroud, you go in and hit, you get the extra 2 damage from your Bloodborn because you have a turn more to use it, but you also get the extra 2 damage from your hero or your general. I think that might be... I think this card might actually have great potential. Now, I know they mentioned that this is a buff on your hero, so you can actually dispel it.
Yeah.
And I think that makes it way worse because you can't just go 100% YOLO like I thought you would be able to, so you can just go all in and be 100% sure that you're surviving next turn. So I'm actually not sure about it because you can dispel it.
Yeah, I don't know. Will be interesting to see, but it's some kind of ice blocky thing that you can use to survive that one more turn. Maybe that comes into effect.
Yeah, I think it might be good if you're playing weapons as well, artifacts. If you can equip the wall converting one, because you don't take damage on your general, and you also don't take you don't lose ticks on your artifact as well. I think it might be actually pretty good for control.
Yeah, there are a lot of swingy cards in general, and it's often in duelists that the one top deck in the end is what makes you get your combo off or something, and this card gives one more turn to do that. So I think it's viable in a control deck for sure.
But wouldn't you replace it always in the late game when you're looking for your big finisher?
Yeah, but I'm thinking if you are playing more like a combo deck, Kara in specifically with Lady Luck or something like that, and you need some kind of pieces, but you cannot really replace more than one card per turn, and you can play this and then replace something else or something. Or when you play the Fey deck with the Jaxi thing, it's really good to play Jax and then discard afterwards. Since usually when you play Jaxi, or what's it called, Jaxi something.
Jaxi,
you know, the one that
Jaxi
takes,
side, right?
Exactly, yeah. So usually, at least in my experience, you are very vulnerable to dying after you play him because you're already pretty low in that deck.
Yeah.
And this can make you survive, at least get your combo off next turn. More to add to this one?
Nope. I think we have to move on so it doesn't take too much time. So the next one is 2-mana spell, Frigate Corona. It is stun an enemy. Draw a card. Stun an enemy and you draw a card. So basically, I like that you can stun the face as well. Unlike Flash Freeze, I think it's called. You can't use that on the enemy general. You can only use it on minions. I think this actually might be better than you think. It's the same logic than with the Battle Pit, right? Where you just need to stall a little bit, and the Battle Pit usually just suicides, right? This at least stalls and replaces itself.
This is a really good top deck if you are getting chased and you're in the corner or whatever. Then you can play this and you still get to draw one more card. Yeah, I think it's good.
I don't know if it's in the early game you don't really want it because you want to develop as much as possible. So, I'm actually really unsure about this. On one hand, it seems so good, just disabling an enemy for an entire turn for 2 mana, and it doesn't cost you a card, right? Yeah,
which is cool.
Yeah, or general. Oh, But on the same,
this can actually work kind of if you don't have a turn 1 play, for example, and you go first. And then you go out and you actually just stun the enemy general as the first thing you do in the game. Then you always have control of all the mana tiles.
That's true. They can still play a minion ahead, like right in front of them, and that minion next turn can walk 2 forward and take the mana tile.
Yeah.
But you have, if you walk 2 forward, stun them, they move. They can't move, they play a minion, then you can move 2 forwards and take the mana tile from them. So yeah, I think this action might be... There might be an argument for using it as a tool to get infiltrate and stuff like that.
I think it's really cool to start.
Wait, it only starts spell damage?
What? No,
they're talking about something else, sorry.
Okay.
It's chat trolling me.
Okay.
Okay, the next card.
This one is not that good.
Myriad, 3 mana, Vespear. 3/3, it has Blood Surge, summon a random wall nearby. Yeah, it doesn't seem that good.
Hey, I'll be right back. Okay, I need to get some water.
Sure, I will be very entertaining with Myriad. Fuck you, leaving me on Myriad, man. So, the artwork is pretty cool. You could name it Rudolph instead of Myriad, because I don't know, it seems like it has a nose and no eyes. Oh, it's 1 eye. I don't know. Is it 1 eye? It looks really, really weird, actually. But, anyways, yeah. We don't think it's too strong. You can play it with Kara, right? But the problem is, if you're playing it with Kara, you want to play this first and then use your Bloodborn and to buff the wall. But then you're not getting the buff on Myriad itself, so it seems kind of counterproductive. And if you're playing it in Fey, you get a random wall at a random spot. It's so useless. If you get a 0/2, it cannot move, it does nothing. You get a Blazing Spines, your opponent can probably walk away, and you might even spawn it just in a random corner that's useless. Yeah, this card is no good. There's nothing noteworthy of this card. So let's move on to the next one. So, Enfeeble. I think this card is insane. It's more removal for a class that already has a lot of good removal. The difference is that unlike Wolf Transformation, Aspect of the Fox, which is a wolf. Sorry guys, it makes a wolf sound and looks like a wolf. But it just, you immediately can walk up and kill that minion. So if it's just pure stats like Lyonar often has, you can kill it. It's worth mentioning that the minions are not transformed, so some of your walls might be able to attack where they couldn't before, because you're actually gaining attack on those. It's also worth mentioning that this isn't time-based, right? It's permanent, so if your opponent has 2 or 3 strong minions, you use Enfeeble and just, okay, whatever, run away or something. And now they have a bunch of 1/1s. I'm actually really unsure, because you have so much removal already. You have Chromatic Cold, you have Cryogenesis, you have Aspect of the Fox. Do you actually use Enfeeble? It seems so strong, but at the same time, there's just so much. Yeah, you can combine it with Scorn. That's true. But Scorn also. Scorn kills all of your own minions, so in that case you have to have 0 minions on the board. And then use Enfeeble and Scorn. I'm actually not sure about this, because you already have so much removal. It's super strong, in the sense that it's 3 mana, destroy a minion that is close enough to you. It's basically like Entropic Decay, right? It's better than Entropic Decay always. Except when you have minions yourself. But you also have Fox. I know, I think I could see Fox going down to 2, and then you play 2 Enfeebles in your deck as well, just to have the variety. Because sometimes when you're Foxing something, you still get hit by that Fox for 6 damage over 2 turns. So, what do you think, Henrykator? You obviously doesn't know what I have said.
Covered Enfeeble already, I think. I know we had a discussion between the two of us about Enfeeble and why it's good and why it's bad.
Yeah.
You mentioned all that it transforms minions, so all the Dying Wishes and whatever, they still work, right?
Yeah. Abilities still work, but you cannot dispel the stats back, I think, because it's like Mark of Solitude.
Exactly, but it works like this, that let's say an Abyssal Juggernaut that stacks on top of each other. If you use this one on an Abyssal Juggernaut, then the Juggernaut will still become a 1/1, actually. It doesn't keep its status. But abilities like Infiltrate and such, they will still be there.
Yeah.
So yeah. So only these aura effects will stay there. The other ones will still be on the minion, but they'll be nullified when it has already gained Deathfire Crescendo, Abyssal Juggernaut stacks, and an Araki Headhunter, stuff like this.
Yeah. But I think because it is Vanar, and Vanar has so many good single target removals already, Enfeeble, I think it's still good and gonna see play, but I don't think it's an automatic include, whereas in all other factions, I think this card would be...
Yeah, Vanar has so much different stuff, yeah.
So, we have Sleet Dasher. It's a 4 mana minion. It's not a Vesper, even though it is obviously an ice monster, which is the definition of Vesper. But anyways, it's
so
a free... Huh?
And it would be so much better if it was actually a Vesper.
Way better. So it's a 3/6. It's actually pretty decent stats. So whenever this minion destroys an enemy, reactivate itself, I assume.
Yeah.
You like reactivate the minion.
Putting an inner focus on it when you hit something.
Yeah. No, when you kill something, right? So, So you can kill a lot of small guys. Like, this seems actually pretty good against... Seems pretty good with Enfeeble, except it gets fucked itself. So no, it doesn't work with Enfeeble. Seems pretty good versus... 1/1s. But that's about it. And then you might as well play Scorn, right? And it is missing 1 stat in comparison to something like a Golem. I think the only good thing about this is that you can actually run up, kill something, and then hit face afterwards. I think that's the idea here, and because it's a 4-drop, I think it might just be too weak. 4 drops is really hardly contested. So
4 mana, 3 attack. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that good. Really. Yeah, it doesn't seem that good. Move on to the next one. So, this is Grandmaster Embla. It is an 8 mana 5/5. It reads opening gambit, surround the enemy general with the random walls. So, right off the bat, it has a lot of immediate effect. If your opponent doesn't have any minions right nearby them, you make a shit ton of minions, and it's really defensive as well, because you can play this defensively, like try to position yourself so Grandmaster Embla blocks, and then they also get blocked with provokes, right? The problem is, of course, if you're only getting provokes and the 0/2, it's not really that effective. It doesn't really do anything. What do you think? It might be okay as a late game with Kara, but even Kara still has better tricks, I think.
Yeah, I think this should be in the Kara deck. It has the potential to be really, really strong.
But I guess
usually at least. But it's 8 mana, 5/5, and you get some random walls. And if you can follow it up with a Winter's Wake, that's a win condition. But why don't you tell me how you would compare this to, let's say, the other 8 drops, the Excelsiors, for example? They're a bit different, but they are both 8 mana.
I think this card is actually better than Excelsiors.
Yep.
Okay, so basically, because you surround your enemy, you have the same kind of lockdown effect. Excelsiors obviously is more threatening right off the bat, where Grandmaster Embla isn't really a deal or die with, because okay, there's some walls, you kill one wall, you summon some stuff, but if at least 2 of those walls are free freeze, it's still 6 damage, and Grandmaster Embla is coming right in. I think the problem, I think if you're using it with Kara on 9, it might be too late. I don't know. Yeah, you're getting a lot of stats though. That's the thing. If you get just 5 or 6 walls, right?
Picky surrounds, yeah.
It's really hard to measure, because
But if you get 4 gravity wells, then you get 4 mana out of it, right? Basically, not entirely, but
yeah, 4 gravity wells isn't good.
Mana.
You want spine cleavers, definitely.
You only want blazing spines, actually.
Yeah,
right?
blazing spines, exactly.
That's actually the only one that's really good. But you get the surround off, and you get some minions there. I'm thinking if you could combine this with the stun card, and that's a way that you can make them unable to summon anything.
Yeah.
But you cannot really do that unless it's cheaper, which, yeah, it's not easy to do.
I'm just really quickly skimming through to see if there's any card changes in the patch notes. It doesn't seem like there is. So we're actually finally at the last 3 cards, the neutral ones, and I really like that there's only 3 neutral cards in this expansion, because they have the monthly new cards that is always neutrals, and then they can kind of balance it out and give more personality to the generals.
And plus the fact that the expansion pack is called Rise of the Bloodborn.
Yeah, true.
It's focused on generals, as we also see that we see all the Grandmasters now that all have general-based effects and so on. Yeah. So it's really cool.
The pseudo Grandmaster for Magmar, who also has a general-based effect. So the first one is Cryptographer. It's a 2 mana 2/2. Opening Gambit, refresh your Bloodborn spell. And what I really find interesting about this card is that if you're starting,
you could use your Bloodborn spell.
You can use it right away, right? If you're going number 2, you have 3 mana, you play Cryptographer, and you use Vath Hero Power right off the bat. A Bloodborn spell, of course, sorry. And then all of the minions you encounter right off the bat, at the very first turn, you can kill all the free health guys. If you're playing Riva, I guess you can make a ranged guy right away. Doesn't seem that good though. With Lilith also, it seems okay. I'm unsure about this because on one hand it seems pretty good in the early game on something like Wrath, where you can get that attack rising right away, and it's not. It's really bad 2-drop if you're going first though. Right, that's the thing. It's a really good free drop if you're going second, and in the later stages of the game where you can use your Bloodborne ability, play Cryptomancer, reactivate it, and use it right away again, I think it might have some potential.
Might be good, yeah. But it's the card itself, the body of it is horrendously bad.
Yeah. I think they had to. If it was a 2-3, I think it might be an auto-include in a lot of decks.
Yeah, 100%.
But 3-2 though might be okay, I don't know.
3-2 could be fine. It's just 2-2 is really bad. It doesn't even trade upwards. But okay, the effect is also actually quite strong. This card is only questionable because it's a 2-2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think this card has potential. We're gonna see, I guess. So the next one is Sanguinar, or Sanguinar. It's a 4-mana 5/4. Your Bloodborne spell costs 1 less to activate. So this is not an opening gambit, so it's not permanent. A mistake I made when I first saw the card, and I actually thought it was super strong. Now,
I guess you can use it with the Cryptographer to, on turn 6, do 2 free Bloodborne spells. How about that? It's pretty good on Wrath.
It's actually pretty good, yeah.
But
and something like Faye doesn't mind either, right?
No, the generals that can always use their Bloodborne spells unconditionally.
Yeah.
This card is pretty good in there, kind of. It's a decent body for 4 mana, and it has a pretty good effect. If it sticks around, it might get even more value. But the thing is also there's so many other good 4-drops, right? Playing this can be... You really need a general that can utilize his Bloodborne spell all the time in order for it to always be live, I would say. Yeah. And you can use it, obviously, on 4 mana together with your Bloodborne spell. That's a cool thing. So you don't have to wait for the next turn until it gets free. It gets free instantly.
Yeah, that's true. If it's
let's say it doesn't get free, because if you have a Geomancer effect, or what's the other one? Yeah, it also works with the Grandmaster Varax, for example, Varax, and Tempest. Then obviously they won't be free, but the discount applies instantly.
Who was Varax again?
The Abyssian one.
Oh yeah, true. I don't think you need it at that point, because at that point you have a lot of mana and you're just clicking, because it's so powerful.
But it could be pretty funny to play Cryptographer in a Grandmaster Varax deck and make 4 5/5s one turn, for example. It's something. But it's overkill. You already won when you played Varax. You already won when you played Abyssian, so...
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this card is a little bit on the down low. A lot of your abilities, you just want to get them in when you have 1 mana.
The effect is just not too strong, kind of. It's a very basic effect.
Yeah. At 5/4 or 4/5, I think it would be way more potent.
It was 4/5, definitely.
Yeah. So,
Meltdown.
The last card, Meltdown, we have had a lot of discussions about this.
Yeah.
Because I don't like or neither of us really likes the direction of this card. It's basically Ragnaros from Hearthstone. Yeah. And Ragnaros is the most, before they got even more retarded with randomness, Ragnaros was the most retarded card in the set.
Sure.
And Meltdown is very similar. And but the difference between 7 to the face and 7 to everything is just so big. But with that said, I don't think this card is too strong, because it's basically a 8 mana card. You have to use it the same turn you have a Bloodborne spell ready, and
Unless you have Sanguinar, I suppose.
It's so late. 8 mana for a minion that shoots something randomly, where you can just shoot a shitty minion. I think that's my problem with it. But obviously, if it stays...
It's not too strong, but it's just the fact that you can actually play a really good game, and you can have everything under control, and actually outplay your opponent. And then there's a meltdown, and it hits your face, and then you lose. And that's not fun to play against.
No.
It's not really fun to play against something that can sack you. It's like the Reaper of the 9 Moons kind of RNG, that either they get a 1/1 Ephemeral Shroud, or they get, I don't know what, an Ironcliff Guardian.
Yeah, it's stupid RNG, basically.
Yeah, like a coin flip kind of card that if this hits, then you win. It's definitely a game-changing effect if it hits the target you want it to hit. 7 damage is a lot still, because the body will stay there. It's not a bad body. 7/7 for 7. It's good stats.
Yeah. So basically, it's stupid. But you don't either think that it might see play competitively, do you?
I do. Actually,
okay.
I do believe we see it from time to time.
Yeah.
I don't believe it's some kind of stable auto-include.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
But I think it's good enough that you can see it in some decks. If they play, for example, for pure board control, let's say.
Abyssian. But Abyssian already has so...
Yeah. But you have Grandmaster Variax. So.
Yeah, okay, not Abyssian.
But let's say something like...
Vanar?
Lyonar, maybe.
Lyonar?
They also like to control the board, right?
But then what? You're buffing this to attack while you're sitting in the corner?
It's not about the buff. It's about finding a class that will always keep a clear board.
That's true.
Turn 8.
That's true.
Yeah. Because you don't really care about the body. It's fine if it stays. If it stays 1 turn, then you win anyways, right?
Yeah.
But, yeah. So it's obviously bad against Lilith. Yeah. Not sure. Can be good in some kind of Songhai deck. Not really. Actually,
not
you don't
really,
want
though.
Board control in Songhai.
Like, I can actually see it kinda in Kalios, because you can play it semi-defensively, out of reach, and then next turn you can blink it in and hit them in the face with the body, and also, if you're lucky enough, hit them in the face with the ability, right? So in that sense...
Would it be a thing with the Cryptographer and Meltdown?
That's true. But not really. You can't...
Not really.
Then your Meltdown has to be on the board already, right? Because Cryptographer and Meltdown, that's a 11 mana combo. Wow, 11 mana combo. Wow. What about, before we close down, Vath or Starhorn? Because you can flash it out.
That. I think that it can fit into Vath, and actually also Starhorn, with all the draw and all the kind of super duper damage to the face, and forcing the enemy to always clear your minions 24/7 with their own minions, hopefully. And then you can put down the Meltdown. And Vath has just really good removal options. It's very rarely that you can overswarm a Vath with the small minions, because Plasma Storm is there.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. In Magmar it's really good. If not, I say really good, but I mean compared to other options.
So that's our final card for this review. Once again, I'm just double checking to see. I don't think there's any balance changes in the upcoming patch. So basically, that's all there is to it. Thank you for watching, and thank you for writing and being active in chat. Once again, I hope, I don't remember my settings on Twitch, but I hope this video will be in my old videos, so you can go back and watch if you missed something and you want our opinion on it. Otherwise, I'll make a YouTube channel for Duelyst, and I'll upload it there throughout tomorrow. And
link somewhere on Reddit.
I'll link it somewhere on Reddit or somewhere. So thank you for watching, and I hope you could use this. We are definitely looking for
tuning in as well. We had 20 people at one point.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome actually.
So often. You're busy winning tournaments. with my decks sometimes.
With your decks, yeah. That's why I brought you, right? I know you know your stuff. So, okay, a final. We got a question from chat, so I'm very quickly gonna bring up that discussion before we close down. Sorry, Henrik, you cannot sleep today.
Oh, sure.
So,
what faction fares best?
Yeah, what faction fares the best? I think, and I think you think as well, that Abyssian seems really good. They got a lot of good cards. They got Punish. They got AoE removal. They got the Grandmaster. That's basically auto win for some situations, I guess.
I think also Lyonar is still quite strong.
Yeah, Lyonar is because it's strong already, and they got the best draw card in the game. And I think we might be able to see some aggro Magmar as well because of tectonic spikes and 4 damage phase draw cards and all that good shit. I think all classes are pretty good, but I would say those are the 3 strongest. I don't feel like Songhai got anything. I think actually Songhai might be the worst after this.
Yeah, could easily be.
I think I remember it as them having nothing.
I really think that Starhorn decks will be just
a pain in the ass.
Disgusting to play against. Yeah. Like, those games will be so fast, and you will not feel that you're doing anything. It's like playing against Spellreaver back then when Spelljammer was a 2/4, and they just played everything and had a full hand, and you couldn't do anything. And this will be the same, except that, now it's Magmar instead.
Yay!
Yeah.
I think
that would be disgusting to play against, but very strong nonetheless.
And I'm not sure, like, you got Rorschach and Zephyr for Vetruvian, so that might be interesting, but they didn't seem so great either.
And Rorschach is cool, definitely.
Yeah.
But
what is the last one? That's the Vanar. Vanar,
Yeah, Vanar really got cheated a bit.
Yeah.
It's
got
sad because
basically.
They actually got good cards, right? The removal options, but just not for Vanar. They have so much already.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a bit stupid. And the Empla is not good, I think.
Nah.
Not the other drops. I mean, the other Grandmasters, actually, Variax mainly.
Yeah. So, that's our final verdict. Songhai and Vanar got shafted, and everything else got pretty good.
Please write here, or maybe not here because now we're closing down. But there's a thread on Reddit where I wrote that we're going to do this, and you can also write in there if there's something you want to see for next time. This is definitely something we could do again in the future. So
we might do it for every patch when there's new cards and card changes and something like that. This is
shorter versions, but still.
Yeah. This is pretty long. What was it? 2 hours?
Yeah.
So that's now finally it's gonna be actually the end. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Bye bye.